I'm Sasha Kirk, co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer at Lawcadia, and today I'm speaking with Nigel Lowry. Nigel is the General Counsel and Company Secretary at Ausgrid. In addition to leading the Legal and Company Secretariat team, he's also responsible for risk and compliance, internal audit and strategic property. Thanks for joining me, Nigel.
Thanks, Sasha. Nice to be here.
The energy and infrastructure sector has had a really tough year with the bushfires and then the pandemic. What have been the key issues for you and your legal team, Nigel?
Yeah, Sasha, after months of terrible bushfires, our sector was then hit again with some pretty awful storms here in New South Wales, which are some of the worst we've seen in several decades, closely followed by COVID-19 and the ensuing economic consequences of the virus. And in the middle of this, we've also had a Royal Commission to deal with. So it's definitely been a year to remember. For our team, look, I think there's really been two key objectives if we distill it back to basics. And firstly, that is to support the organisation in terms of its immediate response to the various challenges that these difficult times have presented. And secondly, leveraging off the experiences of this last year, helping the organisation prepare for the future challenges which no doubt lie ahead.
And you've led your legal function through significant transformation over the past 3 years. How did that prepare you for the COVID situation we're in now?
I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to bring in quite a few new people as part of that transformation, and along with those new people, we were able to develop some new ways of working, firstly with each other and then with the rest of the organisation. Set up some really strong relationships, both within the team and with key stakeholders in the organisation. And I think the quality of those relationships and the fact that we've brought in new people with a new approach has really helped set us up as well as we could possibly hope to deal with the challenges of the last 6 months.
What advice would you give to other general counsels who might now be looking at transforming their legal function?
Yeah, good luck. YouTube won't help you. I think probably 4 things. The first of these is to really make sure you understand the business. And of course, if you've been in the role for a long time, that's something which comes as second nature. But if you're new to a role, understanding how the business makes money, understanding its purpose, its objectives, its risks, its blind spots, its opportunities, really important. I think the second aspect of transforming the legal function is understanding the team really well. Do they do the job they need to do? And the other question that you need to ask yourself is, can they? And not everybody will necessarily be able to do what you ask of them, and it may be that you need to make some changes so that you can help support the business in the way they need to be supported. Then I think once you have tackled those first two, and it sounds much easier than it actually is, you need to decide how you are going to make changes. You need to then to set your course, and then you need to get going and start making some changes. One thing I would also say though is really important to get buy-in from the rest of the business, from your key stakeholders, internal clients, etc., and potentially any external stakeholders before you make real meaningful change. I found that taking people along for the journey, or letting them know what was happening before you started things, really helped people understand what you were doing and why you were doing it, and importantly, how it was going to help them.
The pandemic has been a catalyst for enormous transformation and change across all industries, but we're certainly seeing that in the legal industry. What's your perspective on how all of this change will impact the industry and the legal function?
In terms of the industry, the events of the last year is going to continue the downward pressure on legal fees generally, and that's in part due to the economic consequences of COVID-19. I think though that there is also going to be a change to the type of service that clients want. And so sticking on the bills for a second, I think there will continue to be more of an appetite for creative billing structures, less billable hours. But I think it's the nature of the relationships which are probably going to change a little bit. I think that the speed of the events over the last year has meant that businesses or clients will now more than ever place real value on deep relationships. And by this I mean the businesses are going to prize those advisors that understand their clients really well. And this is because understanding clients really well helps service providers respond really swiftly and also appropriately to the challenges that their clients are facing, and often challenges that the clients have never faced before. So I think that means that there is going to be more tailored approaches to developing relationship with clients. I think there's going to be more secondments. I think there's going to be more established partnerships, because when people are under pressure, as a lot of businesses have been, they will obviously want value for money, but more importantly, they want to go with someone who they know, and they want to go with someone who knows them and what they're going through. So I think that the depth and the importance of the depth of those relationships is going to be really important. In terms of in-house legal functions, I suspect that many organisations have come to recognise the ability of good in-house legal teams in solving a diverse range of issues quickly and under pressure. And I think simply this will ensure that good in-house legal teams have a seat at the table when key decisions are being made.
One of the trends that I'm seeing in the US is actually a shift to increasing the number of resources or investment into in-house teams. Do you think we're going to see something similar in Australia, or will it be keeping a status quo?
It's a really interesting question, and it's a hard one to predict. I think that the economic consequences of COVID-19 means that a lot of businesses will be under pressure to cut costs. And so I don't think instinctively businesses are going to look to replace external legal spend with internal hires, at least in the short term. However, I think as time goes by and as in-house legal teams continue to be at the table as decisions are made, I think there in some businesses there will be a move towards bringing some work in-house where that makes sense economically. In short, I don't see that as being a seismic change, at least not in the short term. Of course, time will tell.
One of the things that I've been noticing with lawyers and speaking with legal teams and law firms as well, their observation is that lawyers are really hard workers. And it's then if you've got all of the work and living happening all at home, I think one of the challenges is how do you encourage your team to switch off when it would be very easy to just stay on the whole time.
Excellent point. And I've heard that said many times, that it is now more important than ever to help delineate some of your work life from your home life, so that you are not getting trapped in a cycle of working, eating, sleeping, repeat.
Do you have any tips? Is there anything that works for you personally?
I think getting up early and doing a little bit of exercise before the rest of the family wakes is helpful, because once it's done, no one can take it away from you. The days can be pretty intense as we all navigate our way through these interesting times, and then also sometimes to let people know that if you're going to take some leave for a day or two, that you really are going to take some leave, and that somebody else can look after things while you're away. And just having a little bit of time where you're not checking the phone every 5 to 10 seconds, probably a good thing for mental health.
Thanks so much, Nigel. It's really great speaking with you today.
Sasha, it's been my absolute pleasure.